At the start of my address at Commem last year, I referred to the imprecise nature of futurology, and looking back on life at St Peter's during this academic year makes that feel either ironic or eerily prescient. It's certainly been a remarkable and extraordinary year which will no doubt have its own place in the history of our school. Lenin said that there are decades when nothing happens and weeks when decades happen, and that's certainly been true in recent months. And while COVID-19 may feel like the dominant story of the year, there has been much more to make this year stand out and to celebrate. There was already a focus on understanding and articulating what makes St Peter's such a great school, clarifying our purpose of education and assessing where we need to improve. What's been particularly interesting is how the last 4 months have sharpened that focus and seen us make some great strides forward, which I'm sure will benefit us all in the future. Underpinning everything we do at St Peter's is the goal of preparing our pupils to be amazing adults and not just 18-year-olds, to give them a huge range of opportunities and make sure their teenage years are full of serious fun. The foundations of that rest on the 4 pillars of qualifications, skills, interests and values. And the glue that binds it together is the sense of community and relationships, not just here at school, but in York, regionally, nationally and internationally. One of the key decisions we made going into lockdown was to preserve as much of that as possible, and I'm grateful to everyone who's worked so hard to achieve it. Well, while we can have had little idea of what the future holds, it's overwhelmingly likely that the last few months will have a profound effect on us all, collectively and individually. Despite the challenges and inevitable difficulties we've faced, I'm confident that we've not just made the best of the situation, but that we will always take the best out of it going forwards as well. Who would have thought it possible to close a physical school, reopen remotely and online in the space of 5 weeks, and then move back into a gradual reopening with planning for being fully open again, hopefully in September? Well, together we did. And we did so because of the individual and collective efforts of the whole community, working in solidarity and pulling together to face adversity with creativity. 2020 will be an historic year also as the time in which St Peter's became the choir school for York Minster. The closing of the Minster due to COVID-19 led to a catastrophic loss of income, which in turn precipitated the proposal to close the Minster school. At the heart of the Minster is the choral tradition, upheld over centuries by the choirs. And when the call came, we wanted to do all we could to ensure that world-famous choral tradition continued and to build on our shared heritage, going back to the foundation of the monastery, which became the Minster and St Peter's School in 627 AD by Paulinus, listed as the first headmaster of St Peter's on the boards outside the Mem Hall. Indeed, in some ways, there's a sense of a homecoming and confirmation of that long entwined relationship between St Peter's and the Minster. Our music has always been an outstanding feature, and this will ensure our ability to provide an outstanding education for the choristers, as well as strengthening music here and further cementing our reputation. It's been really great to see music continuing through lockdown with 627 concerts and cabaret taking place online, and earlier in the year the chapel choir singing evensong at Durham and St Paul's cathedrals. The standout moments, though, probably go to one of our pupils winning the BBC Chorister of the Year and the Radio 4 Sunday morning service being broadcast live from here in the chapel to an audience of over 1 million people worldwide. Think of the way in which the school's character has enabled us to do so well. There's a cliche that sport creates character, when in truth it more often reveals it. And while we may never know what might have been in this summer's cricket, rowing and other fixtures, it's been tremendous to see that continued focus on sport and physical fitness during lockdown with some highly inventive sporting challenges. We can also look back on great achievements earlier in the year. The under-14 girls reaching the national hockey finals made history for a junior girls team, following the under-18 girls' similar achievement in 2018. Excellent too that 2 netball teams and 1 tennis team reached the northern finals. In swimming, we reached the English schools' national finals for the first time, and in water polo, we reached the finals of the national plate competition. Meanwhile, the under-15 boys rugby team reached the last 16 in the National Cup, with the first ever hockey team reaching the last 32 in their National Cup run. Boys' first tennis team reached the North of England and Scotland tennis finals before that event was cancelled. And before lockdown, our rowers achieved success in regional competitions and benefited enormously from the new boathouse. Perfect timing, of course, as the floods rose very high, leaving the boathouse looking a bit more like a houseboat before the astonishing warmth and sunshine that came in May and June. Another theme of our year has been the sense of community, both our school one and also our role in the local communities. Being outward-facing and embedded has always been important, and it is, of course, reciprocal. The more embedded, the better we can deliver positive strengths to York and the region, and the more we become so, the stronger we are. This is going to be even more important in coming years, with the attainment gap in education becoming ever more widely pronounced. And the significant role that we play in the York Independent State Schools Partnership is one way we continue to make a difference there. And I've been asked recently to join an advisory group developing partnership programmes nationally, and I'm very much looking forward to being engaged with that excellent endeavour. And the arrival of our new Chief Operating Officer in August will strengthen and accelerate our commercial capacity and fundraising to support our focus on affordability and increasing financial support through the Help with Fees programme. We're well placed to do this, building on our existing links with the local community, City of York Council, the Minster universities and other bodies. And even before lockdown, we've been involved in hosting a range of events at school with hundreds of visitors, including public lectures, the BBC Stargazing event and regional events such as the English Speaking Union's public speaking and debating competitions, where we reached the North East final. And we're also crowned regional champions in the Schools Challenge competition for the 4th year in a row, this year our A team having to play our B team in the final. Well, fundraising for this year has had a focus on York Mind, and at Christmas we hosted a party for children from the island. The island is a charity that supports disadvantaged, isolated and vulnerable children, and it was an event that showcased the generous spirit of our pupils as well as their creative skills. Our charity and community endeavours are another aspect which has been increased and strengthened by lockdown, and I'm so proud of all who've raised money for York Mind and York Food Bank through the Heads of Schools initiative to travel around the world through fitness activities. Also for members of the DT department who made protective visors for the hospital and local GPs and care homes, and so glad that we were able to accommodate doctors from the hospital in Dronfield boarding house who could not go home at the end of their shifts. And the boarding community itself has gone from strength to strength this year, with the boarders activity programme growing significantly with more integration between houses and including junior boarders in Wentworth and a renewed programme of activities on Sundays. Boarding is in strong shape at St Peter's, with increased numbers for September and within that a noticeable increase in British boarders and new third form boarders as well. The pastoral structures have also strengthened this year, starting with the creation of a new listening space to give pupils an informal path to access support, and several staff have been undertaking training in young people's mental health. We've also spent time reviewing our structures for tutoring, and from September we'll have 2 sessions of tutor time each week, with each tutor having between 10 to 12 tutees rather than the current 15 to 17, and that will enable coaching and mentoring of pupils far more closely in their personal and academic development. I often say that exam results get you interviews, but it's the person who walks through the door that gets the job. Our pupils are incredibly busy and many are immersed in a huge range of activities alongside their academic studies. And that really is fantastic in making their teenage years great fun. And while engaged in such a variety of endeavours, our pupils develop vital and valued skills which will support them in being confident, successful and fulfilled adults. In 2018, the World Economic Forum produced a report on the future of jobs. And amongst lots of interesting analysis, it identifies the skills which will be most valued in the coming years. Analytical learning and innovation, active learning and learning strategies, creativity, originality and initiative, technology design and programming, critical thinking and analysis, complex problem solving, leadership and social influence, emotional intelligence, reasoning, problem solving and ideation, and systems analysis and evaluation. And what strikes me is that those are exactly the sorts of skills that our pupils develop both in and out of the classroom, with the exception that we need to do more in technology design and programming. St Peter's has always intuitively prepared our pupils with the skills needed for the future, and increased time for tutoring is designed to maximise and multiply the impact of all that pupils do and promote the benefits of developing their wider interests. We've done so much and learned a tremendous amount over this year, and I've been so proud and impressed by the way my colleagues and pupils have responded. What's particularly impressive is that while pupils have had a great deal of support from the school, ultimately they've had to draw on their own character and ability to adapt to new ways of being at school while largely being on their own at home. This experience is one that will not be forgotten, and I hope that all of us will see this as being not just tied to the summer of 2020, but positive proof that whatever life throws at us in the future, we can overcome challenges and thrive and flourish no matter what the circumstance. If we can do all that in a situation with so many difficulties and obstacles, how much more so can we perform to the highest level when conditions are favourable? And looking ahead, life will be different and perhaps in a better way. We will take the advantages of online learning in how we use tech for augmenting teaching and learning and workflow. Although one thing lockdown has proved is that personal contact is such an important aspect of education. Some of the other things we develop will also remain as positives for the future. The creativity and range of learning tasks has been tremendous, and I've been delighted to award over 50 headmasters' distinctions this term for outstanding work. We've also had a glimpse into a parallel universe where the last few months of school for 5th form and lower 6th are not spent just going over material already learned in preparation for sitting exams. Instead, our pupils have been doing bridging courses for A-levels and preparation for university degrees, with the school developing 18 courses covering everything from the sciences and humanities to real estate and law. We also arranged an online meeting with young OPs to assist with transition from school, and such initiatives will become part of how we enhance future year groups' experience and preparation for life after St Peter's. We've kept as much as normal as possible this last term, from lessons to the co-curricular and pastoral. Assembly has gone out as a video as normal on Thursday mornings, and the process for appointing new positions of responsibility and prize winners has continued. Induction mornings for new pupils went online, with videos giving guided tours and house meetings on Zoom. Departments have run virtual school trips, and recruitment of new pupils and colleagues has also happened using video conferencing. This just simply wouldn't have been possible even 5 years ago, but while it shows the value of technology, you cannot beat face-to-face contact and interaction. And some days I've spent so many hours on Zoom that I've realised there's more chance of getting DVT that way than by taking multiple long-haul flights, and a healthy reminder to me certainly of the importance of good diet, sleep and daily exercise. And then there have been the new things. Music concerts being stitched together and edited into online performances, such as this week's incredible cabaret. New sporting challenges have been created, showcasing the talents of our staff as well as pupils. A weekly pastoral newsletter has kept us in touch and entertained with quizzes, recipes and insight into the music tastes of staff from their desert island discs. The Isolation Olympics have produced fantastic and good-natured inter-house competition, with events including recreating famous paintings, baking rainbow cakes and the gently bonkers, such as capturing a photo of a robin sitting on a toothbrush, with Miss Mounter's witty puns adding a touch of sparkle to the weekly report. And today, after what feels like the longest summer term ever, we reach the end of the academic year. I'm looking forward with hope, confidence and optimism to a more normal year in the autumn, and conscious also of the need to say farewell for now to leaving pupils and staff. Our leaving staff are recorded in the Peterite magazine and in the end of term letter, and we also had an opportunity to thank them for all that they have done at an online gathering of Common Room on Wednesday evening, which would normally have taken place on the music school lawn. Well, two deserve particular mention today though. Angela Tooby-Smith began her career at St Peter's in 1996 and retires after 24 years. And Bob Shred also retires after 35 years of service. Generations of Peterites have so much to be thankful to them for, and we wish them well with grateful hearts. It was St Peter's Day on Monday of this week, with the name Peter coming of course from the Greek Petros, meaning rock, and Jesus' words to his disciple, "You are the rock on which my church is built." That we've done so well and achieved so much has taken tremendous commitment and hard work. And it's my belief that we've been able to do so because our foundations are strong, deep and secure. My father-in-law farms bison, and there's a story that in the great winter storms of North America, while other animals try and hide, the bison set their shoulders and walk steadily into the oncoming weather, knowing that in that way they will come through the other side faster and stronger. The ancient ways of our motto are built on rock-sure foundations, and the sense of solidarity, community and shared endeavour has sustained us well in recent months, as it will in the future. So thank you, everybody, for all your contributions this year and this term. My colleagues, teaching and support staff have worked tirelessly even in the toughest of situations. I am immensely proud of the pupils for all that they have achieved, and grateful to the parents for their support for the school and their children at what has been a time of great uncertainty for many. My senior teams across the school have been nothing short of outstanding and grasped each new challenge with optimism and dogged determination. Perhaps especially in the absence of a bursar or a chief operating officer, their friendship, support and good humour has made all the difference in the world to me. The governors have provided outstanding support and expertise, giving incredible amounts of their time to support myself and the senior team as we navigated uncharted waters. And in particular, I would like to thank Bill Woolley as chairman for the phenomenal contribution he's made of time and wisdom during the unseen hours of planning, research, risk assessments, and seemingly endless meetings. It's a period of my life that I will never forget, and my partnership with him has sustained me throughout. Thank you. And finally, to the upper sixth. You've had the most unexpected conclusion to your time at school, which has brought you challenge, frustration, disappointment, and uncertainty. It's also brought out the very best in you, and you can be enormously proud of all you've achieved, and from that have confidence in all that lies ahead in life. It's been wonderful seeing so many of you here at school this week, and we will take the chance to mark your time when we can gather again with Old Peterite Day in September, marking the first possible opportunity. You have done a great deal at St. Peter's and had so many opportunities given to you. So remember that from those who have been given much, much will be expected. You have the opportunity to capitalise on all you've learned at St. Peter's, not just for personal success, but to make a difference to your communities, in your relationships and to your world. Life moves pretty fast. Make sure you make the most of it. And above all, always do what is right, not what is easy. And may God bless you all.